Hello and welcome. In this video, I'm going to be doing a reaction of sorts to the movie American Werewolf in London. This is a movie that is a classic horror movie that, if you know me and know my channel, every October I go and watch some classic horror movies for the first time, giving my thoughts, reactions, and opinions to them. So I'm going to be checking out today American Werewolf in London. I'll give you my thoughts in just a moment leading into the movie, and then we'll get started. Welcome once again, my name is Austin, and this channel is all about helping you to dig deeper and go further to better understand faith and film and everything that's in between. If that sounds exciting to you, make sure you click the subscribe button so you don't miss out on any future content. As mentioned just in the intro, I'm going to be watching the movie American Werewolf in London today. A little bit later in the month, I'm going to be also checking out the movie Sleepaway Camp for the first time, which is one I've heard a lot about, and I'm looking forward to checking that one out as well. But kind of wanted to usher in the fall Halloween season with a couple classic horror movies. As you know, I do this on my channel every year where I check out a couple classic horror movies for the first time, give you my opinion and thoughts on them. So as far as American Werewolf in London goes, I'm pretty green when it comes to this movie. I don't really know anything about it. I know it's a werewolf movie, obviously, and it probably takes place in London. I think it has to do with some Americans going to London and something happening along the way with one of them or multiple of them becoming a werewolf. So I like werewolf stories a lot. I really enjoy them. I have quite a soft spot for the underworld movies, which I know this will be nothing like the underworld movie Werewolves, but I really like the werewolves in those movies. I think they're pretty cool. So being able to check out a classic for the first time revolving around werewolves is going to be pretty cool. And if I really like it, I'll definitely add the movie to my collection as well. So I'm going to go watch the movie and then we'll get started with my thoughts and opinions after the movie. And all right, we finished the movie. That was pretty good. I enjoyed it. I think that was the second John Landis movie that I'd seen before. His name popped up as the director in the opening credits, and I was like, I've seen that name before. So I looked him up and remembered that I'd seen The Blues Brothers as the only other movie of his that I've seen. So as far as the direction goes from him, I thought it was pretty good. I thought the direction was good. The movie was pretty well paced, good visual style, all that kind of stuff. The tone was well conveyed. I quite enjoyed the direction as far as all that went. The opening scene of the movie does a great job building tension. I think it's like a 10 to 15 minute sequence, and I really enjoyed the way it kept a lot of the mystery of what was happening. I mean, obviously, based on the title of the movie, we know it's some kind of werewolf movie. But I thought it did a good job building up that tension to eventually lead to that initial attack. I thought that was really good and really well done. I loved the tone and the atmosphere of it all, the mysteriousness of the kind of English countryside little town. And they're kind of hiding this little secret and stuff. And so I thought all of that was really well done. The performances were good for that sequence as well. And then once that action kicked in for that high moment of attack, it was great. I thought it was really well done. From there, we move into what I thought was a really interesting and in some ways, you know, despite the fantastical nature of it being a werewolf story, I thought it was a fairly realistic kind of like, what would a real person do if they woke up and they were a werewolf all of a sudden? I thought that was really well done. How would they kind of deal with the emotional drain that brings, the events that took place of the friend dying, all that kind of stuff from the opening sequence. So I thought that was really interesting to kind of explore the psyche of someone who would have just become a werewolf and trying to deal with all of that emotional baggage that comes with that. The movie mostly maintains a serious tone and kind of atmosphere, but there's moments of kind of humor and some jokes sprinkled throughout. Has kind of like just the right amount of balance of a little bit of lightheartedness or a moment that just kind of comes across as a little funny to kind of lighten up the mood and the tension of the movie as well, which I thought was pretty fun. The practical effects and the makeup were probably my favorite part of this movie. If you know me, I have a huge appreciation for movies that do stuff for real, do the sets for real, the effects for real, that kind of thing. And so the makeup on Jack after when he keeps reappearing to David's character was incredible. I was blown away by the effects and the makeup, the prosthetics that they used on him. Thought it was fantastic. And then all of the werewolf effects too, really good. That growl of the werewolf is just really makes your skin crawl. It's so well done. I love that growl that they had. And then just the transformation sequence, obviously being iconic. I think I had seen a couple clips of that sequence previously, but just seeing it within the context of the movie, it was an incredible transformation. I have no idea how they did that back in I think it was the 80s when that movie came out. So I thought they did a fantastic job with those practical effects, the makeup, all of that stuff was just so well done. And because they did it for real and did it to such a high caliber, it really holds up even all these years later. I think it could still go toe to toe with movies that come out today. Obviously, some of it maybe hasn't aged perfectly. It's very minimal of the screen time of the werewolf character, but if you know me, less is more when it comes to a great monster. So if you're not seeing them as much and it's more left up to the mystery and your imagination, I really dig it when movies do that. So I really appreciated the way that they did the werewolf effects, the makeup, all the prosthetic work. I thought it was great. Now, I did feel like the movie ended a bit abruptly. I was kind of enjoying, the pacing moving up to it, and then just kind of feels like it moves to the point where it's like the expected outcome and conclusion, where it's like, well, yeah, that definitely makes the most sense, circumstances considered. But I don't know, I kind of felt like I wanted a little bit more of a wrap up or a closure with it all. It just kind of reaches that point of climax and then roll credits. So, I mean, I understand artistically when movies do that. I think sometimes it does leave you with a lot to think about. And this movie definitely does leave you with things to think about. But I don't know, I kind of in some ways feel like I would have liked a little bit more, kind of tacked on the end of wrapping things up, that kind of thing. But maybe not necessary, but a little bit of a personal critique there. I don't know if I would venture out to own this movie in my collection. I mentioned if I liked it enough, I'd put it in my collection. I'd probably watch it again, but I don't know if I need it in my collection. Me personally, I felt like there was more nudity in the movie than I would have liked to have seen, because I just try to stay away from that kind of stuff. And I try to avoid putting movies in my collection that have a lot of graphic nudity, and so I was a little more critical of that. Didn't care as much for those sequences, didn't necessarily feel like they were fully necessary. I can understand the artistic nature of it and I guess why they would have included it, but for me personally, I don't care for it very much. So overall, I really enjoyed the movie. I thought it was really good. Maybe not as great as I had hoped it would be, but as far as that practical side of it went with the makeup, prosthetics, all that kind of stuff, fantastic. Has pretty good pacing. I love the opening sequence most, I think, when it builds up that tension towards the initial attack. I just thought it was really good overall. I'm glad I checked it out. I hope you guys enjoyed kind of hearing my thoughts watching it for the first time, my reaction to it. Coming another time in this month, depending on when I release all these videos, I'm also going to be reacting to Sleepaway Camp, which is one I've heard a bit about and know very little about. So I'm looking forward to doing that as well. Going to be doing it actually not long after recording this video. So thank you for checking this one out. Thank you for sticking around to the end. Hope you enjoyed it. Let me know down below in the comments your thoughts on this movie. Do you love it? Do you think it's like, it's good? So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear. I'll see you in the next video.